Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Prepare the Way, episode 26, where I prepare the way for men to discover the truth on how they're called to live. And today's episode, I'm talking about how I struggle to pray and ask God for help. And I know I'm not the only one. I have struggled to put into words how this video is going to go, as it hits very, very close to home to me. But hey, I thought that if it hit close home to me and it stirred some things in my heart, then I know that there are other men out there who are struggling with the same exact thing. However, they may not know how to talk about it, how to admit it, or how to wrap their head around it. And it just came to me last week. So last week I was sitting here, I was spending some quiet time as I do on Friday mornings, and I'm sitting there and I'm struggling, and I'm talking to God, and I'm struggling. And I'm asking for help, which is rare for me. I don't ask for help in much things. And as I'm praying, I stopped. And I stopped because I felt bad. And I know this sounds stupid, and some of you are telling me I'm stupid, but I stopped praying to God mid-prayer because I felt bad. Because this is how I viewed God. I viewed God as I'm coming to pray to Him as a little child, and here God is in all His awesomeness in a robe, because I think He wears a robe for some reason. And I tug on His robe, and He kind of pays a little bit of attention to me. And I ask for help, and I ask for blessings, and I ask for things in my life. And the more I tug on Him, the more I want His attention, the more I'm trying to get His attention, the more I'm trying to get Him to pay attention to me and to hear me, the more annoyed He is with me. And the more He shoos me away, which leads me to think that, well, I don't need to go to Him because I'm just an annoyance to Him. And as I sat there, I had all the knowledge in my head to tell me I know that isn't true. But yet I lack the ability in my heart to tell myself that. And here's why. Men, I know that all of us were raised differently, and I know I was raised differently. However, I know that we have things from our parents that have been passed on to us, that wounds that we have to learn how to deal with. So I have struggled with a father wound for over 10 years. Now, these are things that show up in different areas of my life. However, one of the biggest father wounds that I have struggled with is not viewing God the way I view my earthly father. Now, stay with me here. So when I say that, meaning I came from a family where my father worked very hard. He worked all the time, meaning that he was not always available and that he was disconnected. And there was many times where I would go to my dad for help, and there was many times that I'd go to my dad for guidance, assistance, whatever you may call it, and he just wasn't available. So I learned at a very young age to fend for myself. I learned at a very young age that if you were to ask for help, meaning you were dependent on other people, it made you look weak and vulnerable. And men, I know this. No one watching this wants to look weak and vulnerable. Believe me, I know. However, as I have been taught that growing up, that, hey, if you ask for help, you're weak and vulnerable, that has skewed my image of manhood. And so now I look at God as a father, and I think that, God, if I'm asking you for help, I'm not asking you for too much help that I'm an annoyance to you. If I'm asking you for too much help that I just can't do it on my own. And so I have put on this facade that where I've had to take it on and do it all myself, and I've become this super independent person, when in reality is, man, I'm just like this little kid running up to God, wanting to ask for help, but my pride and my father wounds have come coming from that. So men, if you are like me, man, if you struggle to pray to God and ask for help because you feel like you have to do it all, have it all, be it all, whatever it may be, man, as much as I struggle to believe this when I tell you this, like, God is not annoyed by you. God is not shooing you away. Like, no matter what, like, I know no matter what my earthly father did, no matter how that is portrayed, that is not my godly father. However, to get to that point, man, you got to get through some shit in your life that you've dealt with. And the majority of that shit has come from your father or ones who are above you that you have loved. And so what I have had to continually remind myself, even to this day, after doing this God thing and following Christ for I don't know how many years now, is that God is not my earthly father. No matter how my earthly father treated me, or no matter the things that I went through with my earthly father, that does not correlate to my heavenly father. So men, if you're like me, who struggle to ask for help, who struggle to think that you're an annoyance, that you got to have it all together, who struggle to think that if you ask for help, you're weak, you're vulnerable, and you're a sad state of a man, that is fully, fully false. Every day now, I strive to view God as a God who is turned, who is open, whose arms are wide open, accepting me for who I am, wanting to hear me, wanting to help me. But I cannot get to that point, men, you cannot get to that point until you deal with the wounds that you have from your own father. Because let me be the first and let me be the last to tell you, your heavenly father will never, 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 never be like your earthly father.